Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday, 8 a.m. It's actually Sunday, the 2nd of October, 8 a.m. right here in New Zealand. And this is the NZ Travel Show. In fact, this is the 197th NZ Travel Show.
So close to that 200. So anyway, guys, this is Robin and I'm Laura. And we're the team behind NZPocketGuide.com, which is New Zealand's largest travel guide, because it literally has thousands and thousands of articles to help you plan the perfect trip to New Zealand for 100% free. So how good is that? And now that there's less restrictions at the borders, you don't even need to be vaccinated to come to New Zealand now. So yeah, it couldn't be easier coming to New Zealand at the moment. So now is the perfect time to start planning that perfect trip you've always been dreaming about.
Always.
Always, yes. But if you're not really into reading, because there's a lot to get through on the website, this is what the NZ Travel Show is all about. You guys can come onto the live chat and ask your New Zealand travel questions directly to the experts, and we go through every single one of the comments that we get, answer all the questions, and have a good time. But if you miss the live show, you can always put your questions in the comments section of any of our YouTube videos.
Here you go. So we're gonna get started with the fact that I learned this week. It kind of flew by. You know, like I just learned this week that the Women's Rugby World Cup is actually happening soon in New Zealand. I think it was scheduled in like 2020 or something like that, but you know, because of COVID, everything was like pushed back and pushed back. So we've got a new Patreon. Her name is Monica. We'll talk about that a little bit later. And yeah, she joined us because she wants to plan some awesome things to do around the north island of New Zealand when she's coming for the Women's Rugby World Cup. So it's always a big event in New Zealand. Rugby is kind of a religion here in New Zealand, I have to say.
Big deal.
They are very much into rugby. So yeah, there's going to be a lot happening in the country around that time. And so, do you remember the date? Or it was the end of October, around like October, November. That's around that time.
But it is the first time that it's happening in the Southern Hemisphere, apparently.
There you go.
So,
when the Men's Rugby World Cup happened a few years back, quite a long time back in New Zealand, that was epic. That was buzzing all around town. I used to live in Auckland back in the day. That was quite the event. All right, we also have the question of the day. By the way, is the live chat working? I feel like nobody's is talking right now.
It's usually not this quiet.
Yeah.
Long,
I mean, you guys not awake? Is there another time issue right here? Question of the day. Ooh, question of the day.
Yeah.
It's the question
Of
the day. Here you go. Oh, Nathan's here. Nathan says the light chat is working. That's nice. All right. So the question of the day today is, how many of our live sessions have you been part of? Really curious. We are closing in slowly to the 200 marks, which is a massive milestone. I mean, that's almost 4 years of live sessions for you guys. So yeah, I'm just really keen to know if you've been, present to our live session for over 100 times, 50 times or less, 30 times 10. Just kind of give us a ballpark. There is some options over there. Yeah. So yeah, do vote. Okay, who's there in the live chat? People are waking up slowly.
Okay, so we have Nathan Bate here saying Kia ora, Morena, Laura, and Robin.
What does Morena
mean?
Morena means good morning in Maori, which is the local indigenous language right here in New Zealand.
We also have Lawrence, one of our lovely Patreons, saying hello, Laura and Robin. Everyone. Did I say the right?
Oh, I mean, that's so French, amazing. And we also have Natasha that says hello there. It looks like Natasha is slowly working the daytime savings time difference with Canada right here. So yeah, what do you want to say? Yes, we went through daylight savings last week. New Zealand is one of those countries that just cannot make up his mind on what time it is throughout the year. So we do daylight saving twice a year, confusing the whole world into what is the time difference between us and the rest of the world. Some European countries are going to follow suit probably next week, if I'm correct. So there is this kind of time which is a little bit off for everybody. Nobody's really sure. So yeah. All right. So Nathan says, I've watched almost every travel show, almost every single one of them. Wow. I need to kind of, I think I'm going to treat myself to kind of just rewatch the first like 5 minutes of the first one just to see us like stumbling idiots.
How do you even find that in the depths of the internet?
Oh man, I have no idea. I have no idea. Sometimes I can't even find videos on our own channel. So yeah, I don't even know. But yeah, I'll do that. Fabio's here. Says Morena guys, made it today. Nice one.
Nice
so
to have you here.
yeah, it's pretty awesome to have you on board. A lot of our Patreons are actually coming to New Zealand between October and November. So a lot of people are going to be in the country. It's quite exciting right here.
It's getting lively in the country at the moment.
Yes. Fabio says he's pretty sure he watched about 60 to 80% of them, sometimes even after the show. Okay, so you replay them, yeah? Yeah. I mean, replaying them is kind of an easy thing to do. You just put it as an audio, I guess, and you don't really have to look at the screen. Like I do that with some shows on YouTube, to be quite honest. I mean,
we could do this as a podcast.
We could do that as a podcast. Really no, we're not podcasting stuff.
Does anybody listen to podcasts, and would they listen to this sort of show?
Nah, I think you need more music in the podcast, don't you? I don't know.
Podcasts are usually people basically doing what we're doing, but talking. We're talking as well. But you know what I mean? Like, it's not really music. It's like a show. It's like a radio.
Yeah, I know, but you need to put music.
It's like a radio show.
No, I understand that, but you do need the music intro and all that things.
Yeah, maybe you need it to snazz it up.
Yeah, it needs to snazz it up a little bit. Fabio says sometimes, believe it or not, he did listen to it. All right, so Laura, people are coming to travel to New Zealand around October, November. Any tips for traveling in October, November while we are waiting for some questions?
Well, throughout the month of October, that is usually the lambing season in New Zealand. So that
lambing, lamb, like lamb, the animal,
like
not
little baby sheep.
Not Lamington cakes.
No. So the little baby sheep are around October, and this means that some hiking trails that go over farmland where lambing could be taking place are usually closed during this time. So just bear that in mind when you're doing any hikes. It's a good idea to just double check on the Department of Conservation website whether that track is open or not. So that's something for October. In terms of the weather in October and November, obviously it's getting increasingly warmer as we're it's spring going into the summer season. So it's definitely when you're getting into November, it's a good idea to make sure that you have sunscreen available when you are out and about. Once it's like a nice clear day, it's probably going to start getting a bit burny in November. So sunscreen's always a
very important.
Idea.
Yes.
Also, with summer comes sandflies. So around November, you'll start getting perhaps a few little bites here and there from the sandflies. So
a lot, depending on good you taste.
So good idea to have insect repellent as well if you're traveling in November. And as with any time of the year when traveling in New Zealand, always a good idea to have a rain jacket with you if you're doing hiking.
The weather is ever changing around that time of the year.
Exactly. It can still definitely rain in October and November, on and off. So be prepared for all weather scenarios. If you're doing hiking, waterproof hiking shoes is always a good idea. And actually, like the decent hiking proof water shoes, not the like water resistance that doesn't work. Basically, just when it rains in New Zealand, it usually pours. So be prepared for if it is going to have usually short showers, but you will get wet if you're not prepared.
Yeah, save water, short showers.
Yeah, take short showers as well, of course, yes. So yeah, there's a few tips. Do you have any to add?
No, I definitely agree. But what I would say is that New Zealand in that time of the year is one of the best places in the world, in my opinion, to experience wildlife. There's some really amazing wildlife activities to be done in New Zealand around that time of the year, and so I think we're going to cover a few of the best wildlife activities to do in New Zealand as a bit of an intro. But first, Fabio has some comments for you, Laura.
Okay, so we are at Fabio saying a podcast would be something where people talk with each other. You are more of an FAQ show. Yeah, that's true. We interact more with the audience than to each other, really. I guess like
we try to have you guys to help us avoid having to interact with each other.
Yeah, it's like we're so awkward. We don't want to actually have a conversation.
I hate her.
So what else did he say? He says, Laura, do you want to move a little bit closer to the microphone? Robin is better understandable than you.
No, it's fine now. I clearly didn't forget. No.
Yeah, no, that's just a setting on the microphone. I think when you first put it on, it only takes information. Well,
No, it's just like I use this setup as well when I do work meetings and things like that. So I just make it just for myself, and then I forget to switch it. So yeah, it's entirely my fault, Fabio.
Okay.
What is Laura saying? What is Lawrence saying? Sorry.
Lawrence says, I'm looking for decent hiking shoes, but that I could also use as day/regular walking shoes. Does anyone have any brand recommendations?
Do you want to go? I mean, obviously you use that. So Laura and I, we have very different kind of taste in hiking shoes, right? So I do like hiking shoes that go kind of high and cover my heel. I prefer them like that. Laura like them to be kind of low and not covering her heel. We still use hiking shoes pretty much. That's our everyday shoes. I think we use hiking shoes all the time. So we use them a lot. But so Lawrence trusts you when it comes down to clothing and then buying things. So
actually, in terms of brands, I mean, like,
I like Solomon, but that's my personal taste.
Solomon is good, but that's more like a trainer that they do, not exactly. I don't think they usually do. They do. Oh yeah, they do waterproof hiking shoes. So Solomon is a brand that, I mean, I've used as normal sort of walking / sort of training sneakers type shoes. And Robin's had them as hiking shoes, and in both instances they've lasted a long time. So they're a brand that have actually, they can go through a lot before they start falling apart. And actually, I'm still wearing some Solomon trainers that I have had since we did New Zealand's biggest gap year. So that's quite a few years now. Solomon is always good. But actually, to be fair, when it comes to hiking shoes, the hiking shoes that I currently have right now, there are brands that I can't find anywhere. Like, I can't find them on Amazon. I can't,
Is it Murrells? No, what's the
No. We've had this question before on the live chat, and when I did some research to see...
So what's the name of the brand?
I can't remember. But I could go get them. But when I've researched before, it's just, I can't find them anywhere. So... it's like, I think the best thing to do is when you're going into maybe an outdoor store, you have to go with what is available to you, right? So when you're going to an outdoor store, definitely worth trying on shoes rather than ordering them online. So actually,
I'll make sure you can return them. Like, like if you do have the option to be able to return them, that's quite important.
Yeah. But for me, I much prefer choosing a hiking shoe. So still it's a walking shoe, but it isn't the high rise ones. It's the one that are more like ankle shoes, but they're still, they were fully Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex is just one of those brands that means that they're really decent waterproof.
Technology.
Waterproof technology. So usually my sort of criteria is finding an ankle hiking shoe that is fully waterproof and, is just comfortable. So that's why when I think that people should actually go into stores and try on hiking shoes before buying, and then you can buy them online if you want afterwards, or you can return hiking shoes or get it from the store you tried it in.
Fabio has a good addition. He says for Solomon shoes the term will be more trail shoes.
So I've worn a mix of like trail shoes and hiking shoes.
The one thing I'm gonna say though is that there is those kind of this new trend, right, of those like really soft kind of running shoes. They're all really soft and they all tell you like super comfortable and everything. They really do not last long, like at all. They're such a waste. So I would definitely not go for that, and I go for something much more sturdy. Also, New Zealand has a lot of rocks, a lot of sharp things and everything. I just wouldn't go for any of those kind of like soft shoes. But what I did for you, Lawrence, is that I gave you a link in the live chat, and there you will find 3 articles. You're gonna get the best cheaper hiking shoes can get for New Zealand, how to pick a good hiking shoes, as well as 10 tips for picking hiking shoes, which may get you like started with that. But the first thing that you have to do, I mean, the way I will proceed, right, is like you decide if you want something which kind of cover your ankles or not. Then once you know which style of shoes you want, then you can see what's available on option. Waterproof is kind of a must in New Zealand. There's no other way around that. So you have to get it waterproof, because there's nothing worse than doing your walk with like wet feet and wet socks and all that.
And then it takes forever for your shoes to dry.
Exactly. When you're on the go, it's so hard to dry them, right? So it's really important to have them, and that's also kind of one of the reasons why I do like them to be ankle high as well, because I know there's not going to be any water going in there.
Yeah.
You know, because it's such a pain to try to dry hiking shoes when you're on the go. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So I would go for that, and then after that, I mean, for the brands, you know, I trust Solomon. I've used them like quite a lot. I've had like 4 or 5 pairs in my lifetime of Solomons, and you know, the one that I currently have, I probably have had it for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really happy with it, and it's still like, you know, looking dashingly new. No problem. So yeah, I've used them all across, you know, between the Pacific to here. So yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I use hiking shoes every day without any issue. So that's the thing. Laura's shoes, like the one she's talking about, which is, do you want to go get one? May as well go get one of those shoes.
The Solomon one, or
Yeah,
the other hiking
the
one?
one you use all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what is happening? Laura is going to go get it for you. Lauren says, I just found a pair of Solomon that is well rated and is labeled as versatile. Ooh, well, as long as you know it fits everything you need for hiking. You know what I mean? If you buy something for a purpose, it doesn't matter if it's versatile. If it doesn't do the main purpose well, right? It needs to do the main purpose well, and then go with the rest. Rafa Cat says, good morning from Leeds. I'm sorry I missed your last week show. Anything new? No, nothing new, guys. You know, aside from the fact that you can travel happily. Oh, you got 2 shoes.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Wow, it's show and tell today.
Because it's actually,
Let me just finish what she's reading. She
Yeah,
says,
sure.
my goal is to find something that is good for hiking, but I could use as every day to day, even back home. Thank you, guys. You're welcome.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look, Laura.
So I think like the most versatile option that you can use, you know, for home and stuff, the Solomon brand is kind of like, this is what I kind of wear all the time. In New Zealand, it's more like when I'm doing short. Sorry, am I not?
No, I show it.
Yeah, it's more when I'm doing like short walks and stuff.
Definitely well used, guys. Very well used.
It's very dirty. So, but I've had those for about 5 or 6 years now. So, and it's not falling apart except for they just look grubby, right? But what I actually recommend more is this sort of hiking shoe for New Zealand. If you're doing a trip where you're actually going to be doing longer hikes, and you can use it during the daytime. As you can see, like the design.
Maindel. That's the brand.
That's a brand I've not been able to really find anywhere else. But yeah, as you can see, like the design of this one is quite similar to the Solomon one, so they can be versatile in that it kind of looks a little bit like a trail running shoe, a trainer that you can use in any other situation, but they are actually fully waterproof with Gore-Tex. The only thing I've had to replace on them are the shoelaces. So I just bought some like old, well, obviously not old shoelaces, but I bought some shoelaces just from any shoe shop you can get in New Zealand. And I actually recommend something more like that for your whole trip in New Zealand that you can basically wear for any situation. And that is exactly what we did for a solid year of doing New Zealand's biggest gap year. I lived in these shoes, and I still have them. Admittedly, the tread
there's a bit of a hole right here.
Yeah, admittedly, but yeah, like
but I mean,
a solid year,
years.
And I still use them when I'm doing longer hikes. So I actually recommend a design more like that. That's just my personal take on it. But yeah, like Robin says, some people prefer those hiking shoes that have more the ankle coming up. For me, I've never been able to get away with them because as soon as I start going uphill, I get blisters. So that's why I prefer ankle shoes. But like low ankle shoes. But the high ankle is more designed for if you're carrying heavier loads. So
but to be fair, it really depends.
It
really depends on your taste, right? I literally use those shoes, like the high ankle one, pretty much every day. Like it's very rare. Last time we made a bit of a joke with Laura because I couldn't find my like city shoes, kind of. Yeah. You know, my shoes which were not like those hiking boots. I literally use them all the time, and I'm very happily using them all the time. Baby Burns says, what's up, guys? How are you doing, Baby Burns? So Fabio is giving a bit of an addition right here and says there is a grading system for hiking boots. They are graded from A1 to D2. A1 to A3 are quite soft and have a soft middle sole. B1 is getting stiffer and over the ankle.
Yeah, I definitely wouldn't recommend getting a hiking boot that is too stiff. Like a B1 grading would be...
Mine is B1.
Is it?
Yeah.
The
ankle one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, usually, okay. Well, then Robin recommends that. Up to B1, would you go any stiffer than that? Or?
No, not for what we're doing right here, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like not for like just like day hikes in New Zealand and you know. So and I like my shoes to be quite versatile, but I also do like what I'm wearing to be pretty stiff.
Yeah, okay. So, but there is like, it gets to the point where they get so like, you know, solid that they become more of a mountaineering shoe, and they are obviously made for a very different purpose, which actually can be quite uncomfortable to wear if you're just doing day-to-day stuff around or doing just short walks and stuff. They can be quite trying on the feet. So
and my brown hiking shoes is more than B1. It's actually higher than that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
The B1 is the black one, right? You know, the one of the sole is lost.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's B1.
That's B1. Yeah.
Whoa, they're really like not stiff
it's
at all.
quite soft.
Okay.
It just goes over the ankle. It's just the design of how it is. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Anyway, okay, moving on. What do we have? Baby Burn says, Lawrence, please try the high type of the Haka. One trail hiking shoes. It is really comfy and I still use it daily. Nice. She said Anasapa or Kaha is good. Don't know what you're talking about. Those are brands. Is that what you're saying? Are those things brand of hiking shoes?
Yeah. Maybe.
I've been too mono brand, I think, with my hiking shoes in the last few years. Rafa Cat says, I watched news. New Zealanders are going crazy about the first Costco in New Zealand. Yeah, so we're getting a Costco in New Zealand. I don't know if New Zealanders are really getting crazy about it. I just think that, you know, they do need to amp up the news a little bit and make it sound like it's more of a news. But we are getting a Costco in New Zealand. Yes, you can pay to go do the grocery shopping at slightly more reasonable prices. Whoop whoop. But yeah, we'll see. We may check it out next time we go to Auckland. But there is also a lot of amazing, you know, natural wonders to visit in New Zealand as well, which may be even better than a Costco.
Even better.
B1 cannot be used with crampon. Fabio says C1 is the crampon class. D1 is expedition / mountaineering. I think I tried one time like the D1. Actually, no. They give you... No, they don't even give you D1s. They give you like C plus something when you do heli hiking in New Zealand.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think I've ever tried like I think I tried them one time in the shop just for the giggles. One of the really stiff one. Like it's literally like it's like a clog, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like you just put it. It's like a snowboarding shoes almost.
Yeah,
you know, like that stiff. Lauren says, lot of great advice, you two rock. And Laura, I think Maindel are sold in Amazon US. I can always bring you a pair.
Oh, interesting.
Send us a link. Send us a link
Yeah.
if you see them there. I'll check them out. But yeah, send us a link for sure. Because Laura may need to replace those ones. And, you know, if
Maybe
they have the
one
same.
day, yeah.
If they're the same with the same size, then that's the thing. You can easily order online.
Yeah.
Fabio says, heli hiking would be C2. Yeah. So, yeah. And Lauren says, thank you, Baby Burns. Here you go. More advice, people helping each other. That's a nice community we like to foster right here. It's all lovely people. All right, speaking of lovely people in the community, let me tell you quickly about Patreon because we have somebody new too. Welcome. Hey guys, so today for the Patreon shout out, or even just what I usually talk about on Patreon, today I just want to give a big shout out to Monica. Monica joined us on Patreon this week. We're so glad to have her. She's joining us because she's about to come to New Zealand to experience the Women Rugby World Cup. She's going to be based in Auckland and she's going to spend almost a month in New Zealand and she wants to do as much as possible while she's there and even escaping Auckland, in between matches. So hopefully we will be able to help her make the most out of her trip in New Zealand thanks to all the tips and advice that we provide as well as all the support that she would get access through Patreon. If you too want to get access to all those awesome perks, make sure to check out the link below. There is no better month to join us on Patreon than this month because we are going to be doing a lot of extra Patreon content. Trust us, there is going to be quite a ton, and including 3 extra live shows for Patreon this October, which is quite cool, and they don't know about it just yet. We'll talk about it literally just after this one, because yes, after every single one of our live session, we offer our Patreon an extra 1-hour live session, and Laura and I will have a big announcement for them. So here you go. Boom. Lawrence is asking, do we know how Chris and Claire are doing? Yes, they're doing pretty well. They've done the They went to Waitomo, yeah.
Spellbound or something.
Yeah, so they went to Waitomo and they did the cave, but not the main like Waitomo cave. They went with Spellbound, which is another company which goes to other caves. And arguably they have like really, I think there's even more glowworm in that cave than the main one, but it's much smaller of a company, so they advertise them a little bit less. So yes, they checked that out and they say they really did love it. They're stuffing themselves on Doritos and chocolate along the way in their car. But yeah, obviously they are hopping all around, so getting internet is a bit tougher. But yeah, we do know that they're doing well. They have checked in with us a couple of times on the Facebook group, so happy times.
Their kids did receive their passports at the last minute.
Yes, the kids received the passport literally hours before flying in, which I think is crazy.
Yes.
But yeah, so that was kind of a tense moment on the Facebook group actually about that. So yeah, that's what we currently know about Chris and Claire. Yeah, and at some point they should be heading to the Southern, and I think this week they're hitting the Southern at some point.
Well, we did help them with their itinerary.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm
we should know, really.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to remember, but I think I'm correct. So yeah.
So Fabio is continuing to geek out over hiking shoes, saying I am using C1/2, something between for my normal hikes too, just because of training. Most of my friends have 3 to 4 hiking boots, but I don't want to use more than 2 pairs.
Yeah, I have 2 pairs, so I have the soft one and the little bit harder one.
Yeah,
so,
and all I have is basically those 2 shoes that I showed you guys, just like trail running shoes and then hiking, walking shoes. Hiking/walking shoes. But yeah, I kind of feel like I talk a lot about not getting too stiff of shoes because there's been so many times where we've gone to like when we've gone to huts on hikes and there's people there, like, oh my god,
that's the number one complaint. Yeah,
it's the number one complaint. It's like I went so overboard on these hiking shoes and they are giving me so many blisters and stuff. Like, it's also like you need to know there's like special ways of tying those like really elite hiking shoes as well. That it's just like if you're
I don't have an engineering degree,
exactly.
So if I can't put the shoes on, I can't put the shoes on. That's it,
so it's just like I hear a lot of complaints about it, and I just don't want anyone to go overboard that doesn't need to go overboard.
What I find quite interesting actually is that I too hear a lot of complaints about hiking shoes, but I never really had any complaints about my own hiking shoes. But damn, every single time you're in a hut or you're just at the end of a hike, and everybody's back at the hostel or something like that. People are like, oh, those hiking shoes, I should have bought something different. I should have bought some softer ones and all that. I'm like, I don't think I've ever had this issue.
Yeah, well, when I first initially came to New Zealand and I had those, I had sort of Timberland high top sort of, not high top, but the high-rise ankle hiking shoes, and I did the Abel Tasman Coastal Track, one of the New Zealand Great Walks, and I had the worst blisters from that, and then trying to keep the sand out as well, because you're so desperate to get air to your feet, but then there's obviously, Abel Tasman is full of sand, so yeah, I had some like...
How dare you, Abel?
I know. So after that hike, I was like, I need to get something different, and I've tried high-rise hiking shoes after that incident as well, like different pairs and stuff, but still I just always like consistently get blisters with them. I don't know what it is. Maybe my feet were designed wrong, because Robin never has problems with that.
She was designed wrong.
I think I was designed
all right. Yeah, Lawrence is happy that they got the passport. That was. I mean, I don't know. I would have lost my marbles waiting. So if you guys don't know, Chris and Claire are 2 of our Patreons. They're coming from Australia to New Zealand with all their family, and their kids did not receive their passport until literally the day before they flew, like in the afternoon. I don't know. That would have driven me crazy. Anyway, that was a whole ordeal. That was quite fun. Nathan says, are you planning something for the 200th travel show at all? Yes, we are planning something. It's a secret, but yes, we are planning something. Obviously, you won't want to miss the 200th NZ travel show for sure.
And I think it's scheduled on YouTube, right?
No.
Not yet?
No.
Oh, just before I saw there was some
So I scheduled all the way to 199, and then at 200 I will schedule, yes. We're working on things, Nathan. We're keeping it secret. It's a secret.
Keep it secret. Keep it safe.
Yes. Some of the patrons know already, but it's top secret. Anthony say something.
Anthony's here saying, Marina from Rodeo, California. Sorry I'm late. I forgot about the time change. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
A
listen,
lot to get used to.
this live show, if you rewind it, start with me ranting about daylight saving anyway, so don't worry about it. I disagree with it
Did
anyway.
you know that there is a town in New Zealand that doesn't observe daylight savings time? It's one town that's like, nope, in this town we decide we want to stay
Is
open
it
late.
Whangamamona?
No.
That's
No.
what-
It's not the Republic of Whangamamona.
I mean, that wouldn't put it past them.
Yeah, no,
but-
it's Tianao, because they sort of said, like, we're a tourist town, we want to have businesses staying open later, you know, like that's more like they want to just keep it the same time all year round.
Tianao, you're right.
So when you get to Tianao, which is in the South Island, it's sort of like the gateway to Milford Sound. When you get there, make sure you change your clocks. I don't think it really works like that.
No, it
but
doesn't work like that. But yeah.
it was a bit of a publicity stunt, I think.
Okay, so what do we have? Lauren says it's like Joey and the Lord of the Ring last week. Yes, and Fabio says Lord of the Ring geeking and I missed it. Oh no! Yeah, you definitely want to watch the last week's Patreon live session. Yeah, a lot happened in that live session. It's definitely worth watching. I mean, we did get copyright strike. We got 2 copyright strike for that Patreon live session. Yeah, so I posted on Facebook about it. Actually, I thought we would. And I was surprised we got 2 of them. I feel like that was a bit overdone YouTube, but that was fine. So yeah, you definitely want to watch it. But actually, no, because I had to remove those segments. Like, so basically, YouTube gives you an option, right? You either get like flagged or anything, or you need to remove that. Let's say because that was our first time we got flagged, so we got to have the option, and YouTube automatically kind of remove those sections. So yeah, yeah. So that was removed. Like about Monday or Tuesday, everything was moved because then they take forever to process it. So yeah. Anyway, what is Fabio saying? The last sentence.
So Fabio says the last episode of Rings and Power was so great. I think they used Mount Taranaki in one shot. Do we know something about that? We haven't heard anything about that. All we've heard in terms of where they did filming was just around Auckland. So there were studios in Auckland that they used. And then in terms of like outdoor shots, it was just around the Auckland area and the Coromandel. So that's about as much information that I know from what I've sort of read and researched. But yeah, perhaps there's something different. I'm by no means an expert in terms of the new Lord of the Rings filming locations. Perhaps more of the old ones, but not the new ones. So
yeah, because we haven't even watched it just yet. But if you say the last episode is out, maybe we're gonna start watching. Because Laura does like a good binging. Yes. Laura's not happy to wait in between episodes. So yeah. And actually, Fabio, if you want to give us your ranking right here. So what I was asking last week to Joey, and actually to everybody that's watched, I asked you guys to rank, in your order of preference. So number 1 is the thing you prefer, number 3 the thing you like the least, and I want you to rank the Lord of the Rings trilogy movies, the Hobbit trilogy movies, and the Ring of Powers season 1. So can you rank those 1, 2, 3? I want to know your ranking, because some people were ranking it lower than the Hobbit, and I really did not enjoy the Hobbit. So therefore, it did not make us really want to watch this too much. Okay, somebody is commenting.
Yeah. So we have
Miss Van der Waal is commenting about hiking shoes.
Yeah, so they say, we use these, leather inside, leather outside, never cold, never too warm, always dry feet, never blisters. Close to Germany, so all good German brands nearby, like Mendel.
Hey, Mendel is the brand that Laura is using. That's the brand I was literally showing. So here you go. Yeah, mine. Do you want to go show like the Brown Solomon? Go get the Brown Solomon. Yeah, Laura is going to show you which one is mine. So you'll see which one I use. I use mostly. Okay. Rikifa, so he says, how long is the job check application taking? Job check application taking. You mean it's with Immigration New Zealand, right? So that really depends on how busy they are at the time. So at the moment right now, they do not publish how long it takes them to do things. Oh, just give me this one, yeah.
This isn't Solomon, by the way. It's a different...
Colombia. Here you go. So you will have to see with Immigration New Zealand, sadly. Okay, so that's the one I'm currently using. The most. So yeah, all leather, all everything. It's like really, it's very sturdy shoes. Like I that's basically as much as I can kind of flex it right now. So yeah, that's what I'm using the most at the moment. And the soft one, Laura, can we pass the soft one?
Yep. So these are the Solomon ones.
That's the Solomon soft ones. That's the one I've used the most throughout my life. Solomon kind of, it's almost like trainer with high ankles and give us softer shoes. But yeah, that's the one that me as a boy use because I'm maybe heavier.
Yeah,
Heavier,
perhaps.
sorry.
Yeah, perhaps that's the thing. Like maybe the issue I've had is that I'm quite light, so maybe I don't need that extra ankle support. And I've always found it gives me blisters, but it maybe works better for people that are big like Robin.
Yeah. Rikifa says mine is 10 days and I haven't heard anything from them. Well, immigration in New Zealand is notoriously very slow, right? I'd be surprised if it doesn't take a few months. Okay, just to make things really clear, if you're dealing with immigration in New Zealand, everything takes months. For the simplest applications, it takes very, very long time. The only one exception will be automated process, such as the working holiday visa, which is usually a little bit faster, but anything else will take months. So brace yourself for very, very, very long wait, especially as the restart after COVID and everything is actually even slower. We have some people that have been watching the channel and asking us questions. They've been waiting for, almost a year now. So yeah. Okay, Fabio says least to best. Oh, I ask you best to least. You give me a least to best. Okay, just
maybe it's easier to think that okay, which ones do I hate the most?
Yeah.
Or maybe.
Okay, so he's ranking everything. Okay, I was asking just the whole thing. So least to best. So the least one is the Hobbit one. He really hated the first Hobbit. Then he hated a little bit less the Hobbit 2. Then Hobbit 3 is there. So that's 1, 2, 3 from worst to, so it gets better apparently according to him with the Hobbit.
With age.
I think I would disagree with that. I think the Hobbits kind of got me like it started grinding me. I was like, oh, I'm really not interested. I think I hated the third more than I hated the first one. So I was like, okay, I try to do something different. I'm like, oh yeah, no, it's not my thing. The Ring of Power is after the Hobbits, and then we have Lord of the Rings 1, 2, and 3. So Lord of the Rings 3 is the best. No, the best one is the one with the ghost. You're so wrong.
That is the third one.
No, that's the second one, the one with the ghost.
Oh, did we already talk about that?
Which one's the one with the ghost?
The army of the undead is the one with.
The best one is the one with the ghost.
When he says the one with the ghost, that's the army of the undead, and I think that's number. Did we talked about that last week? That was like number 3. Oh,
Yeah,
I'm still not convinced. I
like the one with the ghost. The ghost is the best.
Yeah.
Okay, Fabio said there's still 2 episodes, so we have to wait at least 2 weeks to watch the Rings of Power. Then, otherwise Laura is gonna beat me up because I don't have the next episode ready for her. El van der Wall says, looks like our shoes. Perfect. Well, here you go.
Ideal.
Yeah. So the brown one was Columbia, the black one was Solomon, and Laura's shoes that she was showing had one Solomon and one Mandel. So here you go. We actually have a wide variety of brand. Actually, I really thought my brown one was Solomon for some reason. Yeah. I'm just a living idiot. I thought because I'm using Columbia for all my pants, right?
Yeah.
So I was thinking, Solomon's my shoes, Columbia is my pants, and it works. And
I now use my old Timberland hiking shoes as gardening shoes. So there you go. If anyone wants some good gardening shoes, I recommend Timberland. Better than
they
hiking.
They are destroyed, those shoes.
I've had to glue the soles back on so many times, but I will not get rid of them until they've completely disintegrated.
Rikifa says, why is The Hobbit wasn't great? My opinion on The Hobbit was that they relied way too much on CGI. The CGI was just meh and kind of really took you out of the story quite regularly. Also, I felt like the story was less compelling. The characters were less compelling than it was in The Lord of the Rings. There was more things happening basically in The Lord of the Rings, which means that therefore it was worth doing 3 movies, while on The Hobbit pretty much nothing happens. And I really didn't care for that elf love story of nonsense. Like what was that whole thing? It drove me nuts. Anyway, so I felt like it was just a lot of things. Like I'm not watching something to do with Lord of the Rings for a love story. Please and thank you. Yeah. Move on and give me some eagles that I can complain about. Okay. Fabio trying to be a contender for expert of the Lord of the Rings, fighting off Joey, saying the Army of the Undead is number 3. Well, did you see? That's the best one. That's what I said. We agree.
Thanks for confirming, Fabio.
Yeah, we'll forget by next week.
I was doubting myself. And Lawrence is also saying, Robin, the one with the ghosts is the third one, Return of the King. All right, thanks, guys.
Well, that's the best one because he has.
I knew I could rely on you guys to confirm. And then Fabio says, Hobbit was not good and not bad, but the third one had the most action. I was thinking H1, H3, H2, but finally it was war. There was war going on in number 3.
Yeah, so at least something happened.
Yeah.
I mean, the one, I have to be honest, the one where that damn dwarf is like gold sick or whatever, like greed, he's suffering greed. It's
Dragon sickness.
Oh my god, can you just drag that thing along for any longer? Like, I mean, is it like an hour of screen time for that nonsense? Like,
Yeah,
I do like gold.
I think it's better to have a more concise,
gold.
tight
Oh,
story
my God.
rather than dragging it out for too long. Which
Honestly.
I do believe that, that whole Hobbit trilogy
Yeah.
could definitely have been made a bit more concise. But that's, as we discussed in, I think it was the Patreon session last week, it's just like the way that streaming and films are right now. It's just all like stretched as thin as possible, and I feel like you lose a lot of quality when you do that.
But that was the Hobbit, so we don't know yet about the Rings of Power, so we can't complain too much. But it better not be too diluted, right? Because stream is supposed to be small, right? I feel nowadays most streaming show are more the hooker falls. It's diluted to hell. Okay, let's stop this nonsense. Yeah. All right, Adil is saying, kia ora everyone, apologies for being late. Yeah, that's right, you deserve to apologize to us. Nonsense. No problem, mate. He says, I was busy entertaining guests. Ooh, nice. How were you entertaining them? Were you playing charades? Were you doing accents? Were you putting on a play? Yes, were you doing magic trick? How were you entertaining? Or were you feeding them? That's what people should be doing when they entertain
that's
guests.
kind of what we do. We just make the pizzas. Here you go.
Okay. Fabio says they did not use CGI for orcs in the Ring of Power.
Oh, that's good.
So that would be reason number 1 why the series is better than The Hobbit.
I like that because what I really loved about the original Lord of the Rings is the makeup and like
they were really cool.
They were really cool, and they made them scarier because they were more realistic.
Yeah.
But the CGI just takes all that sort of like help to think that you're you want to imagine it's a realistic world, right? So
if you use CGI for a monster,
it's too cartoonish.
Yeah, if you use CGI for a monster, I think it has to be a very, very, very dark setting. So some sci-fi shows or movies do it well because it's really dark, and so you just see mostly shape and everything, and you can get away with slightly less natural movement.
Yeah.
Also because they're aliens or something, they're not like humanoid kind of creature, which at that point it's like we expect them to move in a certain way, and also they can also get away with some texture which is not as perfect. But as soon as you try to light them like way too well and make everything bright and nice, and because the Lord of the Rings. Okay, there's some subjects is dark and sometimes in Mordor it's dark, but it's technically relatively light, and you can see a lot of details on pretty much everything, right? There's never a time where there's something like hiding in the shadow, or if it's hiding in the shadow, like Gollum, for example, it comes out at some point and blow your mind, and it's done, CGI, yes. But, and I feel like you kind of, you have to do it so well if you decide to light them a lot, and I feel like at the moment we have had a hard time finding shows which actually do that well.
Yeah, so, I saw like a trailer for the new Hulk TV show, and I was like,
that She-Hulk lady.
Yeah, She-Hulk.
Oh, that is so bad.
And I was like,
is so bad.
that looks awful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I wasn't too interested in watching that.
No.
I could.
How often are you interested in watching anything to do with Hulk, though?
Oh, not very much.
No.
I kind of gone off Marvel a lot recently.
Yeah.
So yeah.
What was the last time you watched Marvel? Was when they were kissing upside down with Spider-Man?
Those were the good days.
You were Spider.
I know, Tobey Maguire, Spider-Man. That is when Marvel was at its peak.
All right, let's remind you guys that we're doing the question of the day with a song from Laura.
And let's remind you guys that also...
Question of the day.
Fine, question of the day, blah, blah. But let me also remind you guys that this is a New Zealand travel channel. So, sorry that we have got a bit sidetracked with...
Yeah, go ask your question about traveling in New Zealand,
TV
come on.
and movies and stuff. So, yeah, I mean, we're more... Anything to do with traveling in New Zealand, we definitely could give you some solid advice on that. In terms of what you should be watching, well, it's all very subjective. All right, so the question of the day is, we are approaching 200 live shows. Wow, how many have you watched? 10 or less? 50 or less? Between 50 and 100 or over 100?
And it's very evenly split right now, so your vote counts.
Yeah, so how many... Yeah.
You can talk to people. I'll be back.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure. I was about to ask, how many live shows has Robin been in? Because I think he's been in for every single one. Obviously, he's in control of all the live shows. And I've actually missed out on about 2 or 3 live shows over the past 200 that we've done. Or almost 200. All right, so where are we at on the live chat? We have Fabio saying Rings of Power is compressed rather than stretched, Robin, due to the fact that they had to fit 6,000 years in a 5 series with 8 episodes each. Okay, that's pretty good. Some event, so they compressed some events. The first and second episode are quite slow in pace, but it keeps getting more action after that. Okay.
Why did they have to stick to only 8 episodes though? You definitely can do more. Nobody stops you.
Yeah.
You're a streaming service. You can do as many as you want.
Wasn't that the highest? Oh no, it wasn't the highest budget. It was the money they spent on acquiring the rights to do that was the highest in TV history.
Beaucoup money.
Yeah. So I was going to say maybe they have budget issues, but it is Amazon, so maybe they don't have budget issues.
Roigbeev says, "Hi dears, any advice on taking on working visa and eventually leaving New Zealand permanently? Mercy." So you need to head to immigration.govt.nz. That's the best place for you to sort out your visa. Do not use any other services or anything like that. Just head to this web address right here and go there. That's the number 1 tip for doing so. Seriously, do it through them. There's all the information you need on there. So highest budget on series and on rights, and the 8 episode is due to the license they got. They only got license for 8 episodes. That's a bit cheap for like that many billions they got.
Well, maybe they had to pay a bit extra for a full series.
I have to say the Tolkien estate is probably some of the greediest people on the planet as well. Yeah, it's kind of something.
Thanks, Granddaddy.
Hi, judging a live show today. Whew, a lot happening. We're leaving the camera, the screen as well every 2 seconds. It is nonsense today. It is a little chaotic. Okay, so as Laura was saying, we're here to answer your New Zealand travel questions. So if you do have questions about traveling New Zealand, go nuts. We don't have to just be talking about TV shows or even immigrating in New Zealand. We're here to talk about traveling in New Zealand. That's why there's also beautiful pictures behind us. And this one I just knocked off, and that's better now. It looks much nicer, I think. Am I right? I don't know about that. All right. So it is spring in New Zealand at the moment. So as Laura was mentioning at the beginning of the episode, it is lambing season. So do be aware of that. However, if you're planning travel to New Zealand by the end of October, that should be over by now, and you should be good to go because some of the hikes are closed, and that's literally the thing that we receive the most email about around that time of the year. We already start receiving some.
One of those hikes that is on like most people's to-do list is the Roy's Peak one, and that is one of the hikes
that closes
that can
completely
be
for lambing season. So there you go.
So just for an example.
So that does genuinely happen. Now when it comes down to the weather, a lot of people also are worried about the weather in New Zealand in spring. It does rain, yes. I mean, it's pouring right now. It does rain, but the weather is more clement than it is in winter, and it changes fast, so you should be good. Fabio says, no, it's due to a loophole in the license the Tolkien Foundation gave to the company who got the license for the movies, who would be too much for me to explain. Oh, well, we can keep that for the Patreon show. You're more than welcome to explain that to us during the Patreon show.
Yeah.
But let's stick to New Zealand. You know what? People want to talk about the Lord of the Rings. Laura, what's your favorite Lord of the Rings location in New Zealand?
Well, I can only speak for the original trilogy of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to go in front of that green screen in Auckland?
Yeah, no.
That's the green screen where the elf did this. Like,
yeah. So a really cool one is Mount Sunday in the Canterbury region. It's about 2 hours drive from Christchurch, and just the area where you go to, you have like a small mountain that you can hike up. There is an official hiking trail that you can go up the mountain, but just the surroundings with the beautiful mountains, that is all where Rohan was all filmed in the Two Towers. So that's a really stunning location. Of course, any Lord of the Rings fan I would recommend goes to Hobbiton. That's a really fun movie set.
Yeah.
The fact that they still have the movie set all up from the Hobbit trilogy.
Can I say one though?
I'm going to pass it on to you in a second. But I just want to talk about Hobbiton. So yeah, Hobbiton is like that's
Don't we
more.
bounce back and forth?
That's more where the sort of magic of the Lord of the Rings is sort of more brought alive compared to when you go to other locations. You kind of have to use your imagination to be like, oh yeah, or know the movies really well to be like, oh yeah, I recognize this place. All
Is
right,
there any
Robin.
other places you do
No,
really
no,
like?
no, go on. You please go ahead and tell me one of yours.
There is one that we rarely mention actually, but it's called Hereford Waitomo. And
Yeah.
it's a Hobbit Lord of the Rings location, not the Lord of the Rings, the movies. But it's a really cool location. So it's located nearby Waitomo. Admittedly, it's a little further than Waitomo itself, though it's a little bit of a drive. But it's really cool. They give you some props that you can take photos with, and the area itself looks really awesome as well. And you literally still have like set marks, like those crosses they put for the actors to place themselves, and they also help you to take exact photo of the same place that you that present in the movie, so you can literally compare with the screenshot and have those shots. It's really fun. It's a really cool place to visit. All right, so Fabio has an NZ question. Woohoo!
NZ question.
He says, what would be a perfect start for a 5 weeks itinerary in spring starting in Christchurch?
Well, it seems like you're already saying starting in Christchurch.
Yeah, but like, where would you go? You know what I mean? Like,
for spring. Ooh.
I think I would personally get used to. So if you start in Christchurch, right, and if you haven't driven in New Zealand just yet or anything like that, I would just kind of get used to driving in New Zealand by just heading to the Banks Peninsula. So I will head to Akaroa just for like a day or two and explore the Akaroa area. It's really fantastic. There is little blue penguins, there is amazing dolphins, there is great cruises, there is amazing cheeses at Barry's Bay. There's really a lot to do in Akaroa. So I would do that for like, maybe the first couple of days, and then you need to drive back and you pass through Christchurch again. Then you realize, oh, that's the thing that I needed. You can do your shopping and buy the stuff you need in Christchurch, and then I will head toward Kaikoura.
Yes, I was about to say that. I think that it would be better to go north early in spring, because the top of the South Island has a better climate. It's a warmer climate, so if you want to experience more the best weather, best to start early in spring going north. Spring's also a good time to, like Robin says, go to Kaikoura, check out, do some seal swimming, some dolphin swimming or whale watching. That's a really good thing to do basically all year round, but spring is also especially awesome. It's if you can get a morning cruise or a morning flight rather than later in the afternoon, because there tends to be more sort of action happening with we've had better wildlife tours on morning tours rather than afternoon tours. So yeah, and then when you're going further up, you will reach Blenheim and Picton, which is a nice large wine region and really has really good weather up there. So like I say, very good for early spring. And then as you're coming through a few weeks into spring, that's when it's best to start traveling down the South Island, down the west coast, going through Franz Josef, that sort of thing, Hokitika, and the weather will be very different there. It's known for being one of the wettest regions on Earth. So you're likely to have a few rainy days going down there, especially in spring. But it's the more you go through spring, it's gonna be getting like slightly warmer temperatures, and then by the time you reach, say, Wanaka, Queenstown, or even going down to Stewart Island, that's more when if you're doing 5 weeks, that's probably more when you're coming into the more summery weather. So that's probably the best time to sort of explore the bottom of the South Island.
Yes. So I agree with whatever she said.
You were totally paying attention.
I was paying attention. Well, I agree. You need to start with Kaikoura. So I agree with the premises of the whole shtick. Fabio says, what about the current opening / restart of the New Zealand tourism companies? How much of the industry has already started again in percentage? So aside from the companies that have completely closed and shut down, some operators were like, well, I'm close to age of retirement. I'm not going to go through that COVID nonsense. Just retire. So aside from those, I'd say a good 90 to 95% of the companies are actually reopened. Pretty much all of them are actually opened right now. Now, if you were to ask me how many of the tours availability is open in New Zealand, I'd say about 50%, because each of the operators are still reopened, yes, but rather than running 2 to 3 tours a day, they will only run one, and they will just go really slowly, and they will have much less spaces available for their tour. So rather than using a really large bus, they will use a much smaller bus, and so therefore a tour that used to be able to take 30 to 40 people now is only able to take 15 to 20. So Obviously, all those numbers are not like factual that I have. There are some industry bodies that will be able to publish those numbers, but they will still struggle very much to be able to evaluate those numbers. And a lot of the data nowadays is like not super accurate. So pretty much all of the companies are kind of reopened. But we had this discussion in the Facebook group recently where I think Christina was trying to book the whale watching in Kaikoura, for example, and she couldn't book, and and then slowly some of the some more boats, some more cruises are being reopened, and then they finally have booked it, I think, about a month ago that was the last thing that they wanted to book for their trip. So a lot of the operators that you're going to be encountering when you're traveling to New Zealand are currently operating right now. It just depends on how many tours they are currently operating, and that's why for people which are planning to travel before, like let's say January 2023, February 2023, we advise people to start booking now, because we don't know how many tours they're going to add, if they're going to add them or not. So if there is something that you absolutely want to do on your itinerary, just book it already. Natasha say, I saw that the tour where they go to the hot waterfall is coming back. Unfortunately, I've already planned around it, so I'll save it for the next trip. Are you talking about
NZ Riverjet?
Yeah, are you talking about NZ Riverjet, where they jet boat to the hot waterfall?
Yeah, so I think that's probably what she means.
Yeah, that's probably what you mean. Like, in between Taupo and Rotorua, right?
Yeah. Well, I wonder if it's the same company. I think
the company has been for sale for since COVID, basically. No, I don't think. I think they're operating it because that company has a higher value
the
to sell it.
squeeze, that's what it was called.
Yeah, the squeeze.
We do have a video on this channel of us doing it.
Yes, we did get squeezed.
We did
on
get
video.
squeezed, indeed.
Yeah, we got squeezed on video, but that was NZ Pocket Guide After Dark, getting squeezed.
Yeah.
But no, that is a fun and very unique jet boat tour as well. And you got two options. You can either go to the squeeze, or if you don't feel like getting wet and going, crawling through that canyon,
scrambling through.
Exactly. They can drop you to one of the geothermal park called Orake Korako. And you can do that geothermal park, which we do have a video of us visiting independently.
Yeah.
But they drop you off over there, and literally you do the whole tour, and then they drop you. You get picked up, because the geothermal park is kind of interesting. Orake Korako, you arrive, and their booth, their entrance, their office where you buy the tickets and sort everything out is on one side of the river, and then you need to take a small boat, which is like, I don't know, like 2 minutes across the river, and then you go to the other side, and then the geothermal park is on the other side of the river. So it's kind of an interesting one. And which river is it, Laura?
It's the Waikato River.
Why is it called the Mighty Waikato?
Because it is the longest river in New Zealand.
So here you go. That's a cool river as well. A cool fun fact. If you want to say that you've experienced the Waikato River, you can just go to Orake Korako, and you would have just done that.
Yeah.
Very quick. But it's it is a cool tour, and it's a very unique tour.
Very unique. I have to say, though, in terms of the jet boat experience, it was actually one of the mellowest jet boats.
It's transportation. It's commuting.
Yes, it was more like, even when they did the 360 spins and stuff, we've had better jet boat experiences where they do that. But in terms of where they go, what they do on the tour, it is probably one of the best places to go to on a jet boat, I think.
Yeah.
So,
So I agree. I think you do this one just to do something very different, right? But for the thrills and everything, again, you are in the longest river in New Zealand, one of the widest as well. So it's big and
deep
wide.
Volume, creates a lot of hydropower.
Exactly. So you know what I mean? Like you do the 360, it's like doing 360 in the middle of a rugby field. You know what I mean? It doesn't really give you the thrill of doing it just in between canyons and everything, right?
Yeah.
So it is slightly different, but it is fun nonetheless. And if you haven't done jet boating before in your life, it's still a really fun jet boat to do, and you won't see too much of the difference. It's just we have had the luxury to do like 20 of them, so we are able to compare A, B, C, D all the way to the 20th letter of the alphabet, which is
the 20th letter of the alphabet.
20th letter of the alphabet is
W. I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know what I'm asking.
Fabio says, student of mine told me on Friday it was in New Zealand. I was in New Zealand once. I was 6. Yeah, it was nice. But when you've already visited, you kind of know it. I had to correct her. You could never have enough of New Zealand.
Also, what the hell does she remember?
When she was 6.
What do you remember? I remember nothing of being 6 years old. What is this nonsense?
Yeah.
That is ludicrous. You should give her a bad grade. Just make her fail. Like, here you go. Boom. F. Go home.
Yeah.
What is this nonsense? How pretentious do you have to be that if I've done it when I was 6 years old, I'm done with it?
I'm well travelled. I went to New Zealand when I was 6. I think I know a thing or two.
I think my backpack is full of life experiences now, guys.
It really shaped me, that trip. I became very mature after that.
It made me the person I am. It made me the person I am today.
Yes, I mean, I met a lot of great people,
Yes,
you know,
yes.
from all over the world.
yeah.
I actually am thinking of that little baby from Family Guy, the one with the...
Oh, Stewie.
Yeah, that's pretty... I just realised the accent I was putting on, and I was like, oh, I sound like Stewie right now. Anyway...
but not when you try to make up a voice, just genuinely.
Oh,
you just sound like
people
Stewie.
always get me confused with Stewie. All right, Anthony Comstock is here with his signature phrase.
Oh yeah,
saying,
5 more minutes only. Woo.
Stay safe, but I'm here till the end.
Natasha says we've booked to do a jet boat ride right after the Aratiratia
That's good.
release.
Rapids Jet. Now that is an epic
That
jet
is.
boat.
So if you want a jet boat that's gonna get your heart pumping, now that is something. Like
that one is a bit insane.
Yeah, it is. It is quite crazy. This one, they're literally doing white water jet boats, which, if you don't know, usually jet boat goes on rivers, which are relatively kind of mellow, but those one they go through rapids. And yeah, especially when you right after the Raratiatia Dam release, it's when the rapids are the biggest and the wildest, and it is something.
Well,
you are going to have a blast on that jet boat. That is a fun jet boat.
And since we've been talking about filming locations on the Rapids Jet, they did stop and say, hey guys, see where we've tied up that little Yogi Bear? The Yogi Bear movie was filmed here.
There you go. So, I mean, if you did not come to New Zealand for filming location, now you are. Watch the Yogi Bear movie before coming to New Zealand as you're about to jet boat through the locations.
So you could be the only one on the tour that says, wow, when the tour guide shows you that, you'll be the only one that is
because they always ask, they told us, they always ask, like, oh, has anyone seen this movie? And they always find it funny that no one ever seen it.
Silence.
So if you have watched the Yogi Bear movie, you can be the one who says, yes, I'm a big fan of Yogi Bear. And it's going to be, you can actually really surprise the tour guide. Please do that. Please do it, because they actually like really were taking the piss and really laughed a lot in saying like no one has ever answered yes to that question. So yes, please, if that happened, that'd be really funny.
Fabio is talking about the 6-year-old, saying her mother is a UN diplomat, her father is a star lawyer, and she is flying around the globe for holidays. And I said to her, she should check out NZ during the winter holidays, and she'll consider it.
Oh, that person sounds like she's not on a high horse at all. Born on a high horse. There you go. The story of that 6 years old.
Wow.
Well, listen, apparently we need some people like those.
How the other half living.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't envy them. Just those two professions that you just stated right here just sound so, soulless to me. Just like, I'm happy with what I'm doing. Yeah. Natasha says excellent. Yes, excellent. Yogi Bear nights tonight, Natasha. Here you go. Like, go on
Movie night. Anthony says,
I think she's about to be handed out divorce paper before she even goes on the honeymoon. If we continue with all our stupid advice, she's her marriage is not going to last long. I hope he really loves you.
Sorry, Natasha.
Yeah.
Anthony says,
why are we apologizing to her?
Well, sorry for giving her suggestions that she may decide to do. Anthony says, I'm set to leave on October 20th here in California, and then I will arrive on October the 22nd in Auckland. Even though for California it still be the 21st technically, but I'm on my way very soon.
Yeah, you're very cool. So Christina said that she was coming to New Zealand in 32 days. Tamo is coming in 31 days. I think you'll beat them to the punch as well, because that's less than 30. Yeah. You're gonna beat them to the punch as well. My oh my, you are all rushing toward New Zealand. I absolutely love that.
This is exciting times. I'm excited that people can finally come to New Zealand, and now
we've been waiting for it for so long.
Yeah, October, November time. That is a really good time to come to New Zealand as well.
Indeed. All right, everybody, we are going to conclude, and yes, you saw me struggling with all this nonsense, but we are going to conclude the poll of the day with a song from Laura this time. Is she really going to sing?
Question.
No.
Oh, sorry. Was that too embarrassing? embarrassing for
I'm
you,
sorry,
Robin.
people. That's too embarrassing. What is that? Question?
I mean, you bring a certain vibe to the song. I felt like I'm not just going to do what Robin does. I'm going to make it my own.
I know, you need some drama right here. All right, so we ask you. We are close to 200 of those NZ Travel Show. In fact, we are going to be doing the 200th around mid next month. So yeah, it's coming very close. This is 197 right now. So yeah. Now we ask you, how many of those 200 NZ Travel Shows have you watched? 29% of you have watched 10 or less, and 29% of you have watched over 100.
Wow.
So very even right here. A third and a third. And then we have the other third in the middle, between 50 or less at 23% and 50 to 100 at 17%. So here you go.
I mean, who's counting really?
Yeah, I just was curious to see how long have you guys been around, sticking around, everything. And to be fair, like about 100 of them is already all COVID. Yeah. So wow, that was a train wreck.
Yeah, hopefully the next 200 are going to be like at a time where people can travel to New Zealand for the entire time, and we don't just have to be like, well, the borders are still closed every single live session. So yeah, and I was just saying before, I think out of those 200 episodes, I have only been present for about 197 episodes. Because there's been like about 3 instances where I haven't been here for the live sessions. Or maybe 4. Because you've had...
I've done all of them, I think.
You've done all of them.
Wow, here you go. Here you go. Who's the pillar of this live session? Who's the wall that keeps the roof up?
He's the glue that holds this community of
That's an
travelers
expression
together.
that exists. It's better when they exist, the expressions.
He's the timber that holds up the roof.
Oh, you just read it.
I wanted to make up one. Anyway.
All right. I'm the trunk that holds those branches. Okay. Anthony says 19 days until his trip. So yeah, so you are like 2 live sessions away from traveling to New Zealand, mate.
Do you have a countdown timer app on your phone like so many people do before they come to New Zealand? They're like, I've got it on my countdown timer.
I'm suspecting that's what Christina is doing. I don't think she's counting every time. I think she has a plan right here. Yeah. All right, guys. So we'll see you next week at exactly the same time with all your New Zealand travel questions. Hopefully, you'll have some New Zealand travel questions this time because we ended up talking about hiking shoes for like 30 minutes today.
Which is relevant.
Yeah, it's relevant.
I like that.
Yeah. But yeah, and right now we're gonna hop to a live session exclusive for our Patreon subscribers. So yeah, thank you very much for popping in, guys. You all stay safe. And we see you on the next live session at the same time next week. Bye-bye.
See you next week. 8 a.m. New Zealand time.
Laura, are you joining me for the Patreon live session this time?
Yes, I am.